Twisted Metal TV show is on the way from PlayStation Productions. Turns out that PlayStation Productions, the newly created studio creating film and screen adaptations of your favorite Sony games, is already at work on a Twisted Metal TV show. The reveal came as Sony Pictures Entertainment Chairman and CEO Tony Vinciquerra spoke to investors at a special event. We'll be working more closely with our colleagues at PlayStation through a new production team they have established on the studio lot to move forward on filming television projects based on gaming IP. We have a TV show we just agreed to get underway that will be developed from IP on PlayStation. It's called Twisted Metal. It's a game that was put out many years ago, and we're going to develop a TV series out of that. He also mentioned the Uncharted adaptation, which will reportedly star Tom Holland, and described it as an advanced development for a film. Twisted Metal was first released in 1995 and had players fighting to the death using various weaponized vehicles. It sounds like it's early days on the project, but if Sony are confident enough to tell investors about it, then it's a done deal. So yeah, here's the thing about that. I'm cool with there being a Twisted Metal TV show. My biggest question is going to be live action or is it going to be animated? Because there's a big difference, and the Twisted Metal world can get pretty brutal. So I don't think an animated version of this would work. So I think it'd have to be live action, but I don't want it to be like cheesy. Because like Sweet Tooth, I mean, he has fire for hair. Like there's a lot of ways they could really butcher this. Kind of skeptical there. Also, what network is it going to be on? Is it going to be actually on TV, or are they just describing it as a TV show? And maybe they release it on the internet, on YouTube or something. Like what network is going to play Twisted Metal? Is it going to be on one of those like premium channels, HBO or something that we have to pay for?
Disney Channel.
I'm not against it. The reason I bring all this up is because I have a hard time believing they're going to make a Twisted Metal show and not have a video game to go along with it. This could be them like trying to gauge interest if people are interested in Twisted Metal, which they obviously are if they're going to make a show out of it. There's interest there. So surely they would be making a game. Like they just have to be. I don't know if it's a new game or a remake. If they remade Twisted Metal Black, I'm all in on that because Black's my favorite one. They just need to change. If they remake Twisted Metal Black, they need to add more colors to it because it's a very dark game. A lot of blacks, browns, grays. I know they did that for like the atmospheric effect, but I think you can still have a dark, eerie game. Still have colors in it. I'm not saying you need to drive through Willy Wonka's factory and be, neon greens and pinks, but just add a little bit more color. Or they could remake 2. That'd be cool. Or they can make a new game. But again, I just have a hard time believing they're making a show and there's not a game. Because the people watching the show are going to want to play the game, and people playing the game are going to want to watch the show, and it helps everything. Like everything works out that way. I fully believe a Twisted Metal game is on the way on PS5. The other thing is I saw people were worried about this. They were saying, Sony should really focus on their games, or this is going to affect the games. It's not. These are two different, separate areas of the company. The people that make games are going to keep making the games, and the people making the movies and shows are going to make the movies and the shows. They're not the same people. They're different. Sony's been making movies for a while now. Like, this isn't new territory for them at all. So I don't understand why people are worried. Also, I've seen some not unrealistic, but just recommendations for shows that I just don't really see happening. I saw some people saying they want a Spyro show, which could work if they animate it and like made it more of a children's show. The only issue though is Sony doesn't own the Spyro property. Activision does. So they would have to come to an agreement to make it. Because this is PlayStation doing all this. I've seen people request Ratchet and Clank. I've seen Jack and Daxter. I don't know how that would work.
No, that wouldn't work. That definitely wouldn't work at all. I can say right now.
Also, we got to keep in mind which of these series actually has a lot of story involved. Like the Uncharted movie we've known about for a while. There's a lot of story they could go with. I've seen people talk about Last of Us movie. I don't think would work because there's just not enough story to go off it. We only have one game so far. TV shows and movies, if they bomb, this doesn't affect the games. Like if the Uncharted movie sucks, we still know the games are good. If a Last of Us movie's ever made and it sucks, we still know the games are good. So this shouldn't affect the games at all. But I shouldn't say realistic, because it's not owned by PlayStation. But I think one of their games that could be adapted into a TV show that would work out really well would be Detroit Become Human. I think that is a show that could last for a while. I think they could do a lot with it story-wise. But again, Quantic Dream owns it, so they would have to come to an agreement. But of all their games, I think that could be the one that could actually have a really solid show behind it.
I wanted to mention Sly Cooper because throughout the cutscenes in the game, they kind of like make little snide comments about like everyday life, or not like every life, like events. I feel that would be animation worthy, and I know that there was supposed to be like a movie coming out.
Oh yeah, that whatever happened to that?
I'm pretty sure it's dead in its crib. Right?
I remember hearing about that a few years ago. It's just nothing ever came about it.
If a cartoon could do well, it could probably bring up slight demand for the fifth game to finally come around, since apparently the fourth game sold poorly, and I didn't know this until like maybe a few months ago.
Yeah, I think that's all this is. Like that's what they've been doing a lot recently. Companies with like gauging if people are still interested. Like they did the remake of the first 3 Crash games, see if people were still interested. It sold really well. They're redoing Crash Team Racing. It's gonna sell really well. There's definitely gonna be a new Crash Bandicoot game because people are still in love with it. They remade the first 3 Spyro games, sold well. There's probably gonna be a new Spyro game. Like I think this is just the same thing, just in a different form of media. Like, are people still interested in this stuff? But yeah, if this Twisted Metal thing happens, it has to be a live action. An animated version of it would be too weird to me. And again, this is not going to affect the games. So anyone that's worried about it, just stop. It'll be fine. Everything is fine.
People go into the games or shows. I mean, not the games. The shows or movies or spin-offs, expecting it to be exactly like the games when they're supposed to be more than often their own thing, while trying to reference, hey, it came from this game, but we're not going to make it part of this game because we don't want it to suffer entirely.
Just wait and see.